Yeah, very good. I'm trying not to have the jolly look, though. But it's not so easy.
I was talking about the personality, but
Yeah. Okay, so we're up to the Mishnah, right? We got to do some catch up here. We got almost.
Where are we? Where are we starting from?
We're starting from Yudal and Amud Beis, the Mishnah.
Oh boy, really behind.
No, it's a half Amud behind. Peretz, by mistake, I posted it as Daf Tes Vav. It's Daf Yudalid.
So I got to tell you, I started calculating in the parking lot of Lowe's, and I'm like, okay, don't worry, I'll just post it and I'll figure it out later.
Sorry about that.
I don't know why they couldn't just do Yud Dalid, Yud Gimel, Yud Dalid, Yud Ches, Yud Tes. Why it got to be Tes Vav? It just throws me off.
Well, because you don't want to do Yud K. That's why. Yud K and Yud Vav, they don't want. Yud K, that's...
Here.
Yeah. Okay, ready to roll? Okay, Zok the Mishnah, yeah? The Chayayin Sha'amru, so the lechis that we're talking about.
Where do we leave off?
Mishnah Yudalit Amud Beis. Oh, so, Simon, you unfroze yourself. All right, that's good.
I had to go dole out melatonin to my children.
Where's Landau?
He got the melatonin.
I'll text him right now.
Naka, before we start, I got a quick shiloh for you because I keep getting asked. At what point do we? At any point, does my minion start saying Magen Avos, or we keep leaving it the way it is?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would think that by now.
I get hacked about it every Friday night. I can't text you Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you can. It's a little later here Friday night. Shkia like later. I mean, l'chayra, are you still having the minyan because of Corona, or is it already more like that, more than that?
Well, as Aaron could attest, that the minyan this past Shabbos was bigger than it ever was. I don't know if it has to do with the uptick in numbers, but it's getting bigger again.
You think that's what it is because of the uptick?
People that never came before were there.
Aaron, you start getting
What?
something.
I can't hear you.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know.
Let's put it this way. He's buying, he's negotiating with Rabbi Horowitz to use his shul for the Ezra's Noshim. That's Oivite.
I was going to say the restrooms, but okay, we'll go with Ezra's Noshim.
Very good. I mean, I didn't hear exactly why you shouldn't say Magen Avos. It seems like it's a minyan kavua. I didn't get why, but all right.
So what should we do?
Oh, Landau is there. Okay, he said he's there. I was just texting.
I just got on. Sorry.
I want to make sure you didn't OD on chocolate. That's all. Yeah.
Maybe it's all the Jews I saw today. Maybe I OD'd on that.
Baruch Hashem.
What's going on? I thought Lakewood has a different Zman timing. I thought I planned it right.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody today. Last week was the Ben Azmanim Shilas from the yeshiva guys. This week, it's all the Ben Azmanim Shilas from the working guys because everybody goes away this week.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm going there tomorrow.
Even Lakewood? I'm saying I thought Lakewood was last week.
No, but Lakewood's got learning people and Lakewood has working people.
How am I supposed to know they're so divided over there?
Yeah. Okay, anyways, let's go. Ready?
So what's a bottom line? What do you say?
I don't know. Bottom line, I think by now you should probably say it, but I don't know. I'd have to still do some research. Believe me, I'll try and research it.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, there's the Mishnah Yudal Amud. So lechayayin shamru, right? So now we're going through all the different measurements for how we're allowed to use. How do you add a mater or mavli, right? So lechayayin shamru. Yeah, yesterday we talked about beams. What the strength of the beams, how big the beams have to be. Tonight we talk about lechis. So lechi shamru, the lechi that we're talking about, goyven asara tefachim, 10 tefachim high, berachvan, uvyan kolshu, and the width and the thickness have to just be a kolshu, right? Which is what we discussed that using piece of tape or thick paint, etc., etc. Rabbi Yossi Aimer, bechavan gimel tefachim. So Rabbi Yossi disagrees and he says it has to be 3 tefachim wide. Fine, that's the Mishnah. L'chayayin shamru, zok the Gemara, l'chayayin shamru. Right? We had a 2 block ago or 3 block ago that the Rabbi Eliezer holds that you have to use 2 lechis. So here it says plural. Lechayayin is plural. So that means it sounds like you need 2 lechis, not just 1 lechi. The Gemara answers, "Loi, my lechayayin da'am." It's not referring to 2 lechis specifically. It's just referring to lechis that are in the world. The lechis that people use, you need 1. You need to have the same amount, but not that you need 2 lechis.
The thickness in the Mishnah before a BIC could be any amount.
Yes.
But didn't we said about paint, and a day later you said the paint has to be on something?
Very good.
We had no problem with that.
Very good, very good. That's what do you call it? I was hoping nobody would ask this because it's a whole sugya, but very good, Naftali. But no, it's talking about, one is talking about lechis for tzuras Pesach, and one is talking about lechis for a mavui. The previous was for the tzuras Pesach. It has to be stronger because it has to be it's an imitation of a doorway. This is talking about just for a mavui, so it doesn't have to hold anything up. It's just there either for heki or for heker or for mechitza, but it's a different. You understand what I'm saying? It's a little different situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yes.
Fine. So the Gemara says, "Ihachi kairanami nisni kairos." So if that's the case, in the previous mission when it talked about the beams, why didn't it say plural kairos? Umay kairos the alma, and kairos would be referring to the kairos that are in the world. Meaning, so the Gemara's intention with this question is if that, and it didn't say kairos, so it must be that lechayayin is specific, and then you need 2 lechis. So Gemara answers, "Hachi kamar oisen lechayayin shenechluku ben Rabbi Eliezer v'chachamim gavin asar tefachim v'reichim eruvin kolshu." Those lechis that is a machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and the chachamim, that lechi that we're referring to, that's a machlokes. I would say those lechis only have to be that, meaning the machlokes that Rabbi Eliezer and the chachamim are having about whether you need 2 lechis or 1 lechi. Those lechis only have to have a mashu of thickness. Bakama kolshu. How much is a kolshu? It's even like a string from clothing, right? Meaning it has to. What's a string of clothing? I don't know if that's lint. Is that lint? I guess. Right, something very, very thin, but it has to have something to it. Yeah. So Tana also lechi lechatzimovi. Okay, so now a new case. Tana also lechi lechatzimovi. Ain't lechatzimovi. You're only gonna have chatzimovi. I think I don't think the pictures that Yuri posted have had this, because maybe it's too simple a case. But just to make sure, taking out our trusty brick, right? So this would be the length of the mavui.
Oh, it's in the pictures. I'm pretty sure it's in the pictures.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah,
I must have missed it. All right. So then you either look at the pictures or you can look at my less classy pictures right here. Right. This is the length of the mavui, and you put the lechi around halfway down the mavui. So the question is, can you carry to here? Obviously, here you can't carry. Nobody's going to think you can carry here, right? But here, right, assuming the mechitzos are all around here. So can you carry to here or not? That's going to be the shas. So Tana also lechi lechatzimovi. You made a lechi for half the movi. Ain't lechatzimovi. You only have half the movi. Pshita, it's partition. Of course, you only have half the movi. Ela ema yesh lechatzimovi. Right? No, but it says that he has that you get to carry up until half the movi. Meaning the first Gemara thought the Gemara was referring to the part outside the lechi. Now the Gemara is saying no, we're referring to the part inside the lechi. So hanami pshita. That's also pasha. Why wouldn't you be able to carry within that? So our answer is the same with lechush dilma asi lashtamushe bekule. No, you would have thought that if you're going to allow him to carry halfway up the mavui, so then you would think that he's going to end up carrying the whole mavui. Kamashma, please close the door. Thank you. There was a lot of people running in and out of here. Yeah. Fine. So Amar Rava. Yeah, Kamash Malan that you can carry the whole mavui. So Amar Rava. Asa lechi lemavi right, so we had reference to this before. You made a lechi for a mavi and you lifted it up from the ground 3 tefachim. Right, or you made it far away from the wall shloisha. These are 2 extremely common psulim but people make by their eruv. Right, we'll get back to it in a second. Just you didn't do anything. Even according to Shimon Gamliel, who says you say lavud for up to 4 tefachim, right? That's only above. Avalamata, but we don't say it below. Even the havi mechitza shagdiim baikinba like Amud, because we know that if the gediyim, anything less than 3 tefachim, anything more than 3 tefachim, right, even less than 4 tefachim, the gedi can go under it. So since it's acting as a mechitza, so then it's a problem. So now again, people, what they do is they'll put up a lechi next to a building, right, next to a tree or on a tree, and they won't, or a building, and they will not make sure that the lechi goes to within 3 tefachim of the ground, right? And then some people, what they really did, interesting mistake that they make, is that sometimes they want to give it some height. They want to give the tzuras pesach height. So let's say this would be a lechi, and then they want to attach another lechi on top of it. But what they do, but that's hard to attach a lechi on top, right? Where are you putting the nails? So what they do is they put it like this, right? They put it like this, and then they bang in the nails this way, and then they put the wire over here going this way, right? Now, the problem is that this part is the lechi. This whole part under here doesn't go to the ground, right? A very, very common mistake. Now, supposedly, Rav Aaron Kotler mastered it, this situation. But most parts can say, no. I mean, again, your lechi, if the wire only goes over here, then it's a problem.
So why not switch it around?
Yeah, but what happens also?
Why don't they? Oh, exactly what they should do, Paris. Exactly what they should do is if you switch it around, then it's perfect because the wire goes over here, and like we learned last week, the wire does not have to be directly on top of the lechi. The wire, as long as it's below, as long as the lechi somehow is below the wire, then that's enough. 100%, Paris. That's exactly.
Or if they wrap it around that top wire, the top peg also.
Or they wrap. Or I mean, if they do that, then that would work. You're saying?
Yeah.
Good morning, Usher Franco. Good morning.
I'm a mailer. It's on top of it. They wrap it around the.
Yeah, if you would do that, but right, exactly. But that's a very common mistake that they make. Also, something that they realize they leave a space of 3 tefachim between a lechi and a wall, a lechi and a tree, or whatever it is. Fine, okay.
But if that's a source of pesach, then you're going to need both sides, right? To be like that. Meaning it would only for a lechi. If it's a source of pesach and it connects to another, then it's fine that it works on one end, but then on the other end, right? It's not gonna be on top of that lechi for that source of pesach.
Well, it depends which direction you're going, right? No,
let's say it's going in both directions.
I mean, it's going both. You're right. If it's going both directions, then you're gonna have a problem one way or the other. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
But then I'll tell you something interesting since you brought it up. Well, let's say you have 2 lechis here and then one in the middle with the issue, right? So sometimes you can look at the middle one. I'm trying to hold it up. My hands are not big enough, right? But you can, if this one has that problem, the middle one, then you can sometimes look at like the end and the end are the lechis and the middle is just there to hold it up, right? You could sometimes we try and pull all those shticks with City Eruvin. Okay.
Are they saying that they're going to be Somech and Rav Aaron and they don't have it in writing? Was that what you were saying? Supposedly Rav Aaron was not sure.
I'm not sure if it's in writing, and I don't have any. I did have Svarim up here. I can't find them to look to see with a source. Actually, one of the big sleepaway camps, I was discussing with them a couple of weeks ago. They had this situation, and they called me before Shabbos and said, "Listen, I don't know enough to tell you that it's mutter. But if it was me, I would change it." So they changed it. At least they were supposed to change it. But I know that they were thinking that we simach on this Rav Aaron. I didn't think the Velt is simach on it. But yeah. Okay, so Rav Yossi and Rechavan Gimel Tefachim. Rav Yossi says it's 3 tefachim wide. The lechi has to be at least 3 tefachim wide, which, as we know from anybody who ever saw an eruv, we obviously do not paskin like Rav Yossi because our lechis are usually 2x4s or 1x2s. Fine. So Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, ain't halacha Rav Yosef.
Yeah, but our lechis are tours to Pesach, no?
What?
When we're talking about our lechi here, we're talking about a tour to Pesach.
Now here, you're right. Right. We're talking about Mavi. We're talking about Mavi here, right? I think it'll be a kosher can. He's going to hold it by tours to Pesach, no? I think. Okay. All right. Anyway, so Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, ein halacha Rav Yosef, loy behilmi v'loy b'lechayayin. Not by hilmi, and which is brine, and not by lechayayin. If anybody can remember what Rabbi Yossi Shita was by brine, that would be, they really get a prize. I can't say I remembered. I had a vague something, right? But we know.
You gotta mix the oil with the salt and the water with the salt.
Very good, very good. But it's really more the Indian of that we paskin that if you make the mixture in small amounts, then it works, right? Meaning as long as you don't make it in large amounts. And Rabbi Yossi held that even in small amounts, it's a problem. So we're saying we don't paskin like Rabbi Yossi, not by the brine, not by lechis. You told this to us by Hilmi that we don't paskin like Rabbi Yossi, but you didn't tell us by lechis. Mishna behilmi the poly grabanan ale lechayayin nami poly grabanan ale. Rabbanan disagreed with Rabbi Yossi both times. So why didn't you tell us? So Amalei shani lechayayin mishum dekoy Rebbe kavasei. No, lechis is we have it's different because Rebbe holds like Rabbi Yossi, right? Which we had before. Rebbe paskins like Rabbi Yossi, so therefore he didn't want to come straight out and say that Allah is not like Rabbi Yossi because then he's also going against Rebbe. Rav Rechume masni hachi. Rav Rechume said it another way. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Breder Rav Shmuel Bar Shelos B'Shmei Rav Ein Halacha Rabbi Yossi Loi Behilmi B'Lem L'Chayayin. It's not by Hilmi, not by L'Chayayin. Amar Le Amrit, did you say this? Right? Amar Lahu Loi. He said no, I didn't say it. Meaning he backtracked. Amar Rava Helikim Amra. He did say it. And we learned it from him. Right? I can't say I understand exactly what went on here. Did he say it? Did he not say it? He's denying that he said it, but then he's telling you that he did say it. So why did he ask him? Why didn't you just say, but you told us? You know what I'm saying? Again, he said it. Then he said, did you say this? And he said, no, I didn't say this, but you did say it. Well, okay. I don't know. But there's precedence with that, right? Didn't Sarah say, didn't Hashem ask Sarah, you laughed? She said, I didn't laugh. He said, you did laugh. Right? Wasn't that the sukkim? So maybe that has, I have no idea. It just popped into my head now. I don't know why. Of all the things I should say, I don't know. Okay, fine.
So,
right.
The Gemara seems to imply that right afterwards that he was Hadarbe, meaning maybe they kind of, whatever tied it to him, meaning he changed his mind. It wasn't like he's saying, no, I didn't say that. Meaning whatever they tied it to him afterwards, he's like, no, you're right, Taka. The love is not like that.
Right. Okay, meaning, but the Lashon doesn't sound like he's changing his mind. The Lashon sounds like he said no.
But right? Which one makes more sense? He changed his mind because of the Svara or because no? So maybe he was chayzer on his psak
and a chanami, but he should have said that.
Maybe that's what he's saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not that
that's what you have to say. Right, you're right, Akiva. That's what you have to say. Yeah. Okay, so then, my time at Kadhadabe, why did he go back? Because of Rabbi Yossi, Nimuka Yimoi. Right? When Rabbi Yossi says things, he always had good reasons. Nimuk means he had good kindness. So therefore, he was a little skeptical to go against Rabbi Yossi because Rabbi Yossi would have good kindness. Yeah. Fine. What is the halacha? This is a very difficult concept, at least for me, in psak, because a lot of times we say this. I was trying to think of other. By kiddush, by minhagim, we say this a lot. Go out. Puk means puk. Go out. Chazi and see my amadvar. What everybody does, and then you'll know your psak. It almost sounds like the people will make the decision.
Sounds like it's a hacker.
What do you mean? That it's a
and
hacker?
Not mechitza, because if it would be mechitza, then it would be, something that.
But it would still. I hear, but that would still have to be how do people consider it as a mechitza? I hear what you're saying, but either way, it's almost like let's go out and find out what the people do, and then we'll have our psak. Now, when do we say this rule? When do we not say this rule? Right? The truth is there are a lot of things that we see that seemingly the halacha is one way, and people just do it. This is just the way it's done, right? What am I thinking? We have it on Rosh Hashanah. Let's say Pesach, right? Really, the halacha is you shouldn't take 72 minutes from the first course to the second course, and because other you have a bracha achrona issue, right? Which a lot of the Gedolim did it very fast. We say Vertelach, it takes us hours till we get from the first course to the second course, right? But this is the way the Welt does it. That's the way the Welt does it. What are you going to do? Right? What?
Afikomen also, no? Eating it by a certain time.
Well, that I think more people are makbid on, but yeah, that's true. But whatever it is, but there's sometimes we choose to say go out and see what everybody does. Fine.
Rav Moshe, when he was matir, when he said you could do, he said, what should I do? The Shabbos clocks.
Right. Oh, that's not a bad example. Right. Rav Moshe, what he's referring to is that Rav Moshe was against Shabbos clocks because it looks like you asked the guy to turn on the air conditioner, shut off the air conditioner, but he doesn't say it against lights because by the time Rav Moshe's tshuva came out, or not by the time it came out, by the time the shaila came out, it was already accepted by Klal Yisrael to have their lights go on and off. So Rav Moshe only says it for air conditioners and etc. So those type of things.
He writes in the tshuva, what should I do? They say.
Right. Yeah. See, but that's only a little different though, because there Rav Moshe was made up the chumrah himself. That was his own chumrah. It doesn't say anywhere that you can't have things turn off and not turn on a clock and off a clock.
Yaakov, at what point does this? Seemingly, this is one of the reasons why things can get out of hand, right? Like this is where you talked about like stockings and what level of stockings girls have to wear when versus what the actual halacha says, like that type of stuff.
Correct. Yeah, that's sometimes they do get out of hand. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's a very fine line when you say this, and that's it. And here, what are we saying? We're saying go out and see what everybody does. Everybody builds lechis with a mashu. So therefore, clearly the halacha is not like Rabbi Yossi. Right? That's exactly what it's saying. The people have spoken. That's what it is. Okay, let's see about it. Right, we get back to brachas here a little bit. Somebody who drinks water because he's thirsty, right? He says the bracha. That's, by the way, that's not we know that's the bracha achrona. He's saying that's the bracha rishona that you say. Right? Go out and see that people don't make bar in the nefashos before they drink. They make bar in the nefashos after they drink. Right? Fine. Okay. Now we also get into a very practical halacha with Eruvin. Itmar, lechi aymin me elav. A lechi that stands by itself. Now, if you just read the Gemara, that sounds like a freestanding lechi. Most lechis you bang into a building and bang into a tree. That's not what it means. It means that it's a lechi. We posted that picture a while ago where we were using a fence as the lechi itself, right? So meaning it's not a lechi that you specifically put up for an eruv. What it is a post that happens to be on the side of a house, and you're using that as a lechi. So does that work or not? Meaning, if you're going to go with it that it's a heker, so what kind of heker is it? Again, we're talking about mavi here. We're not talking about tzuras pesach, but the same thing would apply, right? Well, what kind of heker is it if it's there anyways? So Abaye Amar havi lechi. Abaye says it is a lechi. Rav Amar lo havi lechi. Rav says it's not a lechi. So where you weren't using this from before Shabbos, means from yesterday. Everybody, there's no disagreement that it's not a lechi. We're disagreeing where you saimach on it from yesterday. Can you be saimach on it? Meaning, we're going to see later on in the Gemara. Let's say you have a tree and you decided that tree is going to be the lechi in front of the mother. Right? So when let's say you had a lechi hanging and then the wind came and blew it down. So you say, on Shabbos morning, you say, you know what, the tree will be the lechi now. So that was saying, according to everybody, that doesn't work. You have to have been relying on the tree from before. Right? The question is, can you rely on a tree from Erev Shabbos? Right? So Abaye Amar havi lechi, Abaye says it's a lechi because you were relying on it from yesterday. You made an announcement, you told everybody the tree is the lechi, then you're fine. Rav Amar lo havi lechi, kiven de meyakara lava daite, the hachi avidi lo havi lechi. Right? He's saying since in the beginning that was not what the intention of the tree was, so then it's not a lechi. So pasal that if you have lechi, please what? Yeah? Somebody want to say something? Okay, so kosal kadaita, and so before that. So what about, I'm not sure about this, what about if you plant a tree with the specific intent that it's going to be a lechi? Does that work?
The Gemara says later on, no, that it does work.
That's if it's, I don't know, you planted the tree for that, or you
the Gemara says that later on.
That's the Gemara's teretz that he planted al daita.
Yeah, but I meaning that tree was already. I thought the way I understood it is that tree was uprooted and put there.
No, yeah.
It grew from what? How long? Took you 10? How long does it take to grow a tree? Takes
10 years. You planted
no?
10 years before, exactly. 10 years.
That's what it's talking about. You planted it 10 years before. Okay, okay, I hear.
Is this?
It only has to go. It only has to go 10 tefachim.
Okay, but still, it takes a while.
It takes 2-3 years.
Okay, and okay, you're right. So that's the Gemara. That's okay. I was thinking that you uprooted a tree and you put it there. Okay. Now I will tell you, I should have sent Naftali today. I should have done it myself. I totally forgot. Back when Far Rockaway and Lawrence was an anti-Semitic town, which wasn't all that long ago, because I was involved with the eruv already when this happened, and the country club did not really allow Jews. The Lawrence Country Club, where many make their simplets. Not only did they not
want Lawrence, that's not Far Rockaway.
Correct. That's true. You're right, Lawrence. Right, Lawrence. So
Far Rockaway and other anti-Semites.
Lawrence. Not only did the Lawrence Country Club not allow, I don't know if they didn't allow Jews at that point, they didn't even allow us to put a lechi on the property. Now it's included in the eruv, right? Not only did they not, and it's on the golf course. That's how far we've come, right? That the wires go across their golf course. But in the old days, they didn't even let us put a piece of wood on a tree. So what they did, and it's still there.
Kesef Yanis a coil.
There you go, right? But anyways, Ada Yom Hazeh, if you go in the parking lot of the Lawrence Country Club, you have a simcha there. There's a one-way sign smack in middle of the parking lot, like by a bunch of cars where they're parked. It doesn't make any sense one way or not. That one-way sign was put up as a lechi. That they snuck through. That they can put up a one-way sign. Looks like it's a street sign. Makes absolutely no sense. And that pole holding up the one-way is the lechi of the thing. But I should have taken a picture.
Talks, no, they started taking Jewish. That's because money talks. They start taking Jewish simchas, and they had to probably do it.
That's what Ron said. Kesef Yanis Zakol. Exactly that. But it was
and Jewish golfers.
That's true too. Anyways,
the golf course is not considered karfif?
We only have the edge of it. We only have the edge of it in, and also people hang out there. They play there all the time. So it's actually considered something that you do. Okay.
And I think they adopted it in the fan traps.
What are you saying,
like a putting green. I think they didn't put it in there so nobody.
I don't know.
No, what about the water traps?
Putting green, I don't know. No, the water traps are not in the eruv. It's only on the edge. The putting green is in the eruv parts.
I remember seeing it when I was golfing. I didn't remember if it was included or it wasn't included.
Oh yeah, it's included. Yeah. Anyways.
Tiago, is this Gemara similar to the Gemara regarding like muktzah, where you have to have daita? Is it totally the das, or you have to actually have do a mice in order to make it not muktzah?
I hear that. I hear what you're saying, Akiva. There's another thing.
Or is this even lesser degree where you don't even think about it, but you have to have relied on it? Otherwise, there's nothing else. Because the way the Gemara is saying is that it's heicha de samchinala means you actually have one, but loy samchinala means that it's just there, meaning you might not even have a das for it. In loy samchinala.
Right. I hear what you're saying. It's a good question.
And isn't that also going to come up later?
Well, it's sort of, but as an extension of that, who's Das? The guy that builds the eruv? Does he have to let everybody know that this tree is now part of the eruv? What kind of hecker is that? Right? Which the Mefarshim discuss. Like, is it a hecker? If it's a hecker, then everybody has to know about it. If not, if it's just mechitzos, then nobody has to know about it. All right, anyway, so let's see. So Kasal Gedai the Kieh the Pligi Belechi, Pligi Nami Mechitza. So we thought that the same way they have a Machlokes a lechi, they also have a Machlokes by mechitza. Yeah? Yeah, some Israel, is that you? Muted? Thank you, yeah. So Tashma Ha'isa Sukkah Ben Elonis, Vilonis Tfanis Lo Kshera. So we have somebody who makes a sukkah between trees, right? We had this a couple days ago, and the trees are walls, right? It's kosher. So we say no, it's talking about where you planted the trees for the. You're right, not on. You're right. It says planted. Okay, that means you planted it from scratch, not replanted. Okay, okay, so then it's pashut, right? You planted the trees as a lechi. So I mean, what's the difference between a 2x4? 2x4 is a tree too. right? So what's the difference between a natural tree and one that was processed? Anyway, Mao the same. No, we're afraid maybe you're gonna end up using the tree. That's not a problem. Toshima, let's say you have a tree or a fence or chitzas kanim is made out of reeds, like a mat sort of type thing. Nida mishum diyumid, so we can use it as a diyumid. Again, the diyumid is what we had a couple days ago. A diyumid is a lechi that has two ends. It's an L-shaped lechi, right? And you put it around the water, right? We had it a couple days ago, right? You make it, it comes like this. You put 4 of them on each corner around the well, and that works. So
Rashi has a picture.
Right, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Right, Rashi has a picture. Yeah, right. So Hayisham Elon, I gather chitzas kanim nidam shum diyumad. You can use it as a diyumad. Diyu means two. Diyu Amud means that's where it comes from. Diyu Amud, it's two beams. So the same thing. Well, you planted it for this. If that's the case, so what's the chiddush? Kamashmalan chitzas kanim kana pachas v'shalosh tefachim. That even this thing made out of reeds, as long as it's less than 3 tefachim in between, but like we're going to see weiter.
So if I surround my yard with privacy trees, I don't need an eruv?
Correct. As long as they're loving to each other, yeah, 100%. But you got to be careful. That's a good one. That's a good example too. A lot of times these bushes, they don't grow. They start growing more than 9 inches from the ground. They don't go down to the ground, right? You got to be careful that the bottom of the bushes go within 3 tefachim to the ground. Otherwise, the gedi could get under there, and it's not a mechitza. Yeah. So Tashma, Ilan Amesach ala Aretz. So you have a tree that's, what's the name of those type of trees? Is a weeping willow maybe? What are trees that the branches go all the way down to the ground or close to it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Willow.
Yeah, something like a willow. Yeah. So Elon Hamesach ala Aretz. So now this willow goes down to the ground. So can you carry under that willow? If the branches are not higher than 3 tefachim, then you're allowed to carry under there. So you see that, and nobody's growing that tree as an eruv. So we say, no, we're saying yes. You're talking about where you planted this huge tree to be an eruv. Right? If that's the case, then why can't you carry under the tree, all under the entire tree? You can only carry up to Beis Sosayim, right? So Beis Sosayim is what do you call it? 5,000 Amos, square Amos, right? Beis Sosayim is 2 sa, right? So how come you only limited to that? Now that has to be obviously a major tree, right? A massive tree. So we're going to answer. So it's called a dira that's meant to work for air. That's a literal translation. And anything that's meant to work for air, you can't take that. Now the way Rashi explains it is that you're there. What you're doing is you're living there for the outside, meaning. Right, Rashi also says, does Rashi say it or does others say it? What is it? Yeah, Rashi says it like for somebody who's in a watch, in a, how do you call it? A security booth or whatever it is. So if you're making the area for the people that are inside, so that's one thing. But to make it for outside, then you only have up until Beis Sosayim. Yeah, I think we'll have that. We'll have it later on. Yeah, in the second parak. Yes, Toshima. Yeah, Shavas Betel Shugavaya Asara. Let's say this is also a common case. This is also actually for this Shabbos. I'm sure I'll get a couple of these Shabbos for the Shabbos, and next Shabbos too, Labor Day weekend, whatever that is. Shabbos Shavas Betel Shugavaya Asara. Let's say you're living in a hill that's more than 10 tefachim high. V'umei arba amas ba'ad Beis Sosayim, and it's from arba amas until Beis Sosayim. A hole, it's 10 deep. It's from 4 amas until Beis Sosayim. The kama kitsura v'shibas makivas, or here vid doesn't mean and, it means or, right? If you have piles of grain, different types of grains that are 10 tefachim, right? You can go from there and outside 2,000 amas. So before we go there, so what does it mean? Meaning, if you have a mound that's higher than 10 tefachim, you don't need, that is considered an eruv. What's the practical application of this? You have a porch that's 10 tefachim high. Now, if it can't, the reason why it doesn't apply in a Jew's house is because you have a porch that's 10 tefachim high. You need to halachically have a fence around it. That's a passing this week's part. You need a micah, right? Because we're afraid somebody's going to fall off. But as you go on a vacation, and they have a porch there, and the porch has no fences around it, which sounds like a lawsuit, but they have a porch that doesn't have a fence, or it's a very low fence. That is automatic eruv. You don't need a fence. If it's higher than 10 tefachim, you do not need any sort of fence, right? Okay, so that's agav.
The whole Venice.
What?
The whole Venice.
Why? It's above. What do you mean? It's above 10.
It's above 10, above the water.
Oh yeah. Oh,
straight
so
walls above. There's no walls surrounding anything. You can fall right off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
So I guess Venice has an eruv, huh?
That's what they say, at least.
Okay, good.
If you paskin that it doesn't need to be made l'shma.
Well, that's what we're right. So that's what we're discussing here. But anyway, so we're saying so you can go the whole thing, and then from that 2,000 amas, which is another din, which we're going to get to in the third and fourth paragraph, that when you're making eruv tchum, right? So let's say I have a big property. Let's say I have a ranch, right? And in Texas. So my ranch is 10 miles away from the next guy's ranch, but my ranch has a fence all around it, and my ranch is 5 miles long, but it's fenced, right? Or maybe even if it's not fenced, but it's above 10, right? So my tchum doesn't start till after my 5-mile ranch, meaning even though you would think, 1 second, well, how can I walk that far? It doesn't make a difference. If that's meant to be lived in, then you get 2,000 amas from there. Fine. So whatever it is, now the Gemara went through a bunch of cases. It's a mound higher than 10. It's a hole lower than 10, and it's something that Rabban, this one is it Field of Dreams, right? They built it in the cornfield, right? So that's this case here too. The corn surrounded the baseball field.
How do you know about Field of Dreams?
How do I know about Field of Dreams? It was one of the things I let my kids watch during Corona. It was one of the things I let.
There's a lot of things you should be embarrassed about. That could be on number one on the list, even for you.
I'm telling you, he was on vacation. He put on a baseball cap. Nobody knew he was Jewish.
Exactly. It's like the Jewish people. They put on a Yankees cap. Nobody knows anything.
No, this was a movie that I let my kids watch during the deep dark days of Corona. All right, and I happened to have been on the exercise bike, so that was the first time I watched. I knew about it, but yeah. Anyways, I watched most of it. I didn't cop the whole thing, but whatever. Like that. Either way, but that's what it was in a corner. I guess you'd be able to play baseball in that field because it had an eruv. Anyway, right? So if you're going to say here, they also made it lechi. So good. So you want to put the stalks there, meaning you take the big bushels and put it there. Fine. What about the mound and the hole? That's natural. Even though the hole, I thought it was dug. It was a hole that was dug, but here it seems like no. It was like in a valley, natural valley.
Isn't that what's going on across the street from my house?
Mechitzos.
Isn't that what's going on across the street from my house? That we took the field trip?
Very good. Right, very good. Right, remember that field trip, Taka? Yeah, we might have to send you out on another one eventually. But
always at your
they
service.
were using it as a mechitza. Here we're talking about where. Yeah, so they were there that we're using that as a mechitza. This we're talking about where you're totally surrounded. You know what would be an example? The Grand Canyon, I guess, right? The Grand Canyon, right? Well, that's a pretty deep hole. But anyways, elam mechitza is kuli amalei pligi to have a mechitza, right? When we're talking about mechitzos, everybody holds that a mechitza that's not natural, that's not meant to be part of the eruv is a mechitza, right? Which, by the way, Bez Hashem, when we do our tour of Farakaway, most of Farakaway is mechitzos that, like we said, are buildings and fences and seawalls, and it's all like that. So keep lechi belechi. So everybody goes by mechitzos, it's fine. The Machlokes is by lechi. Abayla tameh, the amar lechi misham mechitza. Abaya holds the lechi, the din of lechi works as mechitza. Mechitza, so you may allow have a mechitza. A mechitza that's done by itself is a mechitza. Who cares? As long as it separates you, you're fine. For Rav to make damer lechi mishum heker. Lechi is supposed to heker. Yavida b'yadayim havi heker. Loy havi heker. If you do it with your hands, meaning you specifically say that this is going to be the eruv, then fine. And if not, then it's not. So Toshma.
Who's the hecker for again? Remember, there's a whole shadow we had whether the hecker's for the people outside or the inside. Right. If it's for people outside, who cares whether he made it or not?
How are people going to know that it's a hecker?
Why would it matter whether he made it be a dime or not? Either it's a hecker or it's not. Either it's recognizable or it's not. If he made it be a dime, it's not going to be more or less. It's not going to be the idea that he did it be a dime is not going to make it more of a lechi or less of a lechi when it comes to hecker. Either it's something that's recognizable. Right. Or they will know. They won't know that he made it. Either they'll recognize it as a clear-cut lechi or not.
Right. Okay. I hear. Okay. Maybe that's, I think we come out that it's for the people that are inside. Okay. It's a good point. Yeah. Thank you. So, Tashima. Avnei Geder, Yotzis Mena Geder, Muvdali Zumuzu Pachas V'Shoisha, Ein Tzarech Lechi Acher. Right? Shloisha Tzarech Lechi Acher. So this is talking about, this was also in the pictures, right? Basically, it looks like you bent the wall, and it looks like you're halfway through, meaning you got to add more bricks. So what the Gemara is saying, that as long as in between each brick, right here we go. Here's a case, in case anybody didn't see any of the pictures, right? You got this. Any more Legos here? Anyways, you got this, and then you got this sticking out this. As long as there's less than 3 tefachim in between this, and you go up 10 tefachim, then that is going to be enough for that it can be a lechi. Right? The Gemara answers. So we're using it as a lechi. So you see that it's a natural thing. It wasn't done specifically. So you say, no, you did it. That's the way that was your intention when you built it like that. What's the chiddush? I'm sorry, did I jump? I jumped. Pshita. It's pashut. Ma'ad l'seim l'meisa ben Yanahu Davida. Kamash Malon, that it's not. Maybe you were thinking it's just because you eventually plan on adding more bricks here, so that's what it's for. Kamash Malon, no, you could still use it as a lechi. Right, so we had this case before also. If you have a wall, right, and one corner of it goes in, right, like this. All right, one corner goes in. Either it can be sometimes visible from the outside or visible from the inside, however it is, right? Whether you can see it on the inside or whether you can see it on the outside, that was a loose translation. Neither mishum lechi. We consider it a lechi. So we say no, you did it on purpose like that. You indented the wall in order to be a lechi. What's the chiddush? When you see it on the outside, what was it? A blot of Gemara. Amud of Gemara discussing whether if you can only see it on the outside and on the inside it's equal, whether it's a lechi or not. Fine. So Toshma, the Rav Hava Yosef Bahu Mavua. Right. So now we get a story. Rav was sitting in a mavui. Hava Yosef Rav Huna Kamei, and Rav Huna was sitting in front of him. Amarle l'shame zil aisli kuza demaya. Go bring me a jug of water. Adasa. Before he was able to bring it to them, nafal l'chayaya, the lechi fell down. So now he's holding out the guy. Who was it? Oh, it was the shamer. So maybe it was a guy. He was carrying the water, and all of a sudden the eruv became puzzle. So achri le'biyodeh, he showed him with his hands. Stay in your place because the eruv is no good. So Rav Huna told him, but there's a decal tree right there. Maybe we can rely on that. Amar, seems to me that Domi, it literally means similar, but it seems that this person, the Rav Huna, did not understand the halacha properly. Were we samech on this? Did we rely on this from yesterday? Meaning you can't just decide in the middle of Shabbos that this tree is going to be your lechi, right? We discussed before. That's according to everybody. So time is like samchina, where it's mashma. That's only because you didn't rely on it from the day before. But had you relied on it from the day before, then it would be a lechi, even though it's natural. Fine. So lema Abaye v'Rava deloy samchina alei pligim. Maybe Abaye and Rava are having the Machlokes where you didn't rely on it from before. But if you used it before, then everybody would agree that it would be a good lechi. Don't think that Yahu Barka to have a bay barchavu, but there was a how do you call it? A porch that was by the house of barchavu to have a pligi, but Abaye v'Rava kulishnayu. All the years Abaye and Rava had this machlokes whether the lechi that was there holding it up, meaning there was a lechi that held up his porch. So they obviously use it as a lechi, as a hecker. So Abaye and Rava all their days had the machlokes whether this is whether that's considered a good lechi or not. Now that clearly they were samech on that from before Shabbos. Yet Abaye and Rava still had the machlokes. So we see that they had the machlokes regardless of whether you decided on whether that lechi was going to be a lechi from before Shabbos or not.
This bark was above
everything.
10?
What do you say?
The bark was above 10?
Yeah, it had to be above 10. Right?
Everything has to be decided, but benishmashes what you can utilize the lefty or not, correct?
I would assume, yeah, it's a good point. I would assume Ben Hashmashas is no good, but I can't say, I didn't see anything about it, so I can't say for sure, but I would assume
I'm saying going into Shabbos. If a mistama though, if
excellent! You just reminded me something I wanted to say. Thank you. What are you saying?
Okay, don't forget what I reminded you though. But if a tree is set up or a post was set up and it came down, does that change its status as a lechi afterwards? Meaning, if it was a tree that was there and there was a storm that came in, the tree got knocked down. Can they still be samech and using it as a lechi, or probably not? It's now in a different din because it's in a different place now.
Yeah, I don't know what we would do with that. Yeah, that's a good question. So one time, this actually happened this year. In Lakewood, we had a Shabbos Sheva brachas, and we looked up, and the eruv was down. Now everybody had to carry the stuff from their houses to the place where the eruv was, and the lechi, and the wire was down. It was right about by Shkia. So basically, what we did is what we had to goyim build a makeshift eruv out of the catering carts and folding tables. It was a whole thing. We were trying to get this thing done by the end of Ben Hashmashas, right? Which I think we got it done barely, but whatever. It was quite an interesting sight to see. And we used cars. We had to go in parking cars and then sticking cases of soda under the car because some of the cars were more than 3 tefachim above the ground. I wish I would have had a video. It would have been practical Eruvin 101 where what was going on there. Whether it was halachically okay, I don't know, but we did it, and yeah, whatever it is. Fine. So
don't forget that we had to pass the kids over the fence that it was attached to.
Yeah, we still had to do that too, right?
No door. They had to go up and over the fence.
Right. Yeah. It was quite interesting. Anyway, yeah. We should have hired a photographer for that one, Peretz, no? That would have been good. Okay, so Zog the Mishna. You can make a lechi out of anything, even if it's alive. Imagine somebody has that job, right? I'm the lechi for Shabbos. Yeah? So, yeah, you wouldn't have to go to shul, I guess. Right? What's the problem, Gershon? Can't hear you. What? All right, fine. Hold it up on a piece of paper. Anyways, you can make a lechi out of anything, even if it's alive. Rameir says Osir. Matam Mishum Goilo, that is a special halacha that a tombstone retains its tumah even after you remove it off the grave. So if a live person is the tombstone, and then he moves off of that, then he's going to be tameh too. But Rameir says no, he can't. Somebody who's alive can't be.
That means the person has to stand there for 25 hours?
Yeah. What else?
Is that physically possible?
I don't know.
I'm saying he can't go to the bathroom.
Discipler?
No, why did he go to the bathroom?
Something over Shabbos?
He's making believe he's waiting for playoff tickets.
Very good. Very good. All the guys that are in Times Square for New Year's, right? Those guys stay there for the whole day. They use diapers, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
This is the same fellow who gets the teichel 4 times on the Shabbos. So now he's alone.
Very good. Anyway, so that's the second case.
What do you say? They use diapers, you said?
After New Year's, I have no idea how I know this, but after New Year's Eve, what they have to do is they have to clean up the adult diapers because the people you're getting a spot so close. They lock you in. They lock you in there, and you can't leave even to go to the bathroom. So you're there for 12 hours, 20, some even longer than that. So they need to go to the bathroom. So they have adult diapers. After New Year's is over, they just make piles of them, and that's what they're busy, the garbage men, doing. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, all right. Because get they noshim, and you're allowed to write a get on something alive. Obviously, it's more mutzi to do this on an animal than on a human. For Rav Yossi Aglili, Rav Yossi Aglili says it's possible. Okay, so Tanya, Rameir Aimer, called over Sheyesh Beruach Chaim, Ein Ois Nois Loi Doifin L'Sukkah, Loi Lechi L'Mavi, Loi Pasan L'Birois, Loi Goyla L'Kever. Right, you're not allowed to be here. We add one more case. So you're not allowed you can't use it as a wall for a sukkah, and you can't use it a lechi for a mavui, and not pasan L'Birois is what we said, those wood boards that you use it for the water, for the oil regalim, Loi Goyla L'Kever, and you can't use it as a tombstone. You can't write a get for a woman on there either. My time with the Rav Yossi Glila. Why does Rav Yossi Glila say you're not allowed to? The Tanya is safer. Ainly a safer. It says that you have to write it as a safer, meaning a get is called a safer, right? So, okay, so that means you write it in a safer, in a book, or on parchment. How do you know that you're allowed to write on anything else? Because of law. You write it for mikol makim means anything. Imkain matam safer. If you're saying law means you can write on anything, so what does it mean safer? It's teaching us that a safer doesn't breathe, it's dead, and it doesn't eat. It has to be something that doesn't have any life to it and it doesn't eat. So that, and therefore you can't use a human or an animal. Rabbanan miksib a safer. Safer, it doesn't say this safer, it says safer ksiv. The Sfiros Dvarim Ba'amud also. It's just coming to tell us that with what's going on, the story here that they're getting divorced. Rabbanan hai because of law, my dashi. What did Rabbanan do with the word because of law? She gets divorced with writing, but she does not get divorced with kesef. Why? Right, yitzia means to go out. That's a get. Havaya means to bring her in. Ma havaya bekesef, havitzia bekesef. Just like bringing her in. What do? You marry a woman with a ring, so that's giving her money. So you would think, just like you can marry her with the money, you can also divorce her with money. So you can also divorce her with kesef. Kamash malam because of law. No, it has to be written. Right, that's not talking about the money that a husband has to give to the wife for the ksuba. That has nothing to do with this. This is just, instead of writing a ksuba, you're just giving money. Right. For Rav Yossi clearly, how does he know that you don't get divorced with money? He learns it off from sefer krisus, which means a sefer makes her divorce, nothing else. For Rabbanan high sefer krisus miboyle, the davar akar is beinay leveina. It's talking about, the Rabbanan say it's something, it's cutting off things between the two of them. What's that case? Look at the Tanya Hareza. Here you're talking about a really controlling husband, right? So he gives her a get, but he says, I'm only giving you this get on the condition that you're not drinking wine anymore, or or that you're not ever going to your father's house. La'olam forever. Ain't that krisus? That's not a get krisus because he's still attached to her, meaning there is still a condition attached to this get. Conditions attached to the get are not allowed, right? But if he says you can't drink wine for 30 days, or you can't go to your parents' house for 30 days, then that is a good get, because the divorce, yes, it's tied to something with that, but after 30 days, she's free to do whatever she wants. Rav Yossi Glili learns it out from that it says karis krisus, right? A double, it uses a word krisus, which makes it learn something extra. For Rabbanon, karis krisus like darshi, and the Rabbanon they hold you can't darshan out karis krisus. Okay, we're pretty much caught up. We'll stop here. Have yourselves a good night.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
In the morning, what time are you saying in the morning?
Oh yeah, we could do 9:30 like regular.
Okay, fine.
Tomorrow 9:30. Yeah. All right, everybody have a good night, and Asher Frankel, have yourself a good day. All right.
Yago, you missed your gabbai with your building blocks.
I know. I didn't have my gabbai here. I didn't have my gabbai. I didn't have punja. I didn't have the big mo. And what should I do? All right.
All right. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
My phone needs to charge really bad.